This video is brought to you by the Disc Golf Nerd Patreon support team. Go to patreon.com/discgolfnerd. Hello, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my review of the DGA Prototype Vortex. This is the Catrina Allen Signature Edition Vortex from DGA. Shout out to friend of the channel, Disc Golf Nerd Patreon support team member, Ed Radakovitz, for hooking me up with this disc to test and review and allowing me to represent some more DGA here on the channel and in the playlist. Ed is a member of Team DGA. I appreciate his support very much. Thanks for hooking it up. This is an Understable Fairway Driver, 7-speed driver. Not a whole lot to see on the stamp with the prototype stamp here. This hollow foil is quite distracting. It's not my favorite. It's a little bit hard to read as well. I'd prefer something a little bit less busy than that, but it looks pretty good on camera, actually, with the way it catches the light. I don't like it so much in person. There's Catrina's signature DGA Proto. Here's a look at the rim design on this thing. Nothing terribly remarkable. It doesn't have much in the way of dome. It's pretty flat across the top for the most part, and it doesn't really have any kind of hot spots or sharp edges or anything. Pretty smooth feel in the hand. I like the feel of it quite a bit. No issues there. I'm not exactly sure what this plastic is considered because I'm not too well versed with DGA, but I'm pretty sure this is Proline. And it feels kind of akin to like the titanium plastic to me in my hand, so no real problem with it. It's not the grippiest plastic in the world, but it's not bad either. And over the years, I've noticed with all the stuff that comes out of the Discraft factory, a lot of times it will feel better over time as well, kind of add a little bit of grip to it as you use it and stuff. 170 to 172 on this disc, and the flight numbers not marked. I put on tape on the back here. 7, 6, -3, and 1. I would say those flight numbers are basically spot on from our testing. This thing is definitely flippy, but has good glide, very low fade, but does have a little bit of fade. You know, if maybe it was a 2 for fade, I wouldn't argue too much. Just because it's a driver, so depending on how you throw it, sometimes it'll come back a little bit at the end, but it's very, very understable disc. You know, if you're not somebody who likes to hyzer flip or who knows how to throw with touch, you're not going to have a great time with this thing. If you're just trying to throw it flat and just rip on it and get it to fly straight, it's not going to go very well. It's going to be a roller for you, and that's probably about it for me. I can get all kinds of nice, fun, different lines out of this thing. Rollers, hyzer flips, etc. We'll take a look at more of that flight footage as the video goes on. Let's get a look at this thing next to some other options. First of all, one that I think is very apt would be the Leopard. This is an old champion Leopard that I've had in the collection for a long time. I have not actually ever thrown this thing, but I think it's going to go in to the testing queue for review. I think it would be great to have a nice champ Leopard represented in the playlist somewhere. And let's put it up next to that. So you can see the Leopard, a little bit deeper, a little bit chunkier feel to it. It's always hard to get these lined up very well. That's pretty good right there. Give you the idea of the differences there. So Leopard definitely a little bit deeper feel in the hand, a little more blunt on the outside edge. The Vortex overall has a lower profile, a little bit more pointed feel to it than the Leopard does. Also, we have the Innova It, previously reviewed. I just reviewed this thing for Halloween very, very recently. I'll put that in the end screen and also in the description below. I tested these back to back on the same day, and I like them both, but they have very different designs. See how weird the It is a very weird design. It's got that very pronounced shoulder dropping to that super low parting line. Very, very blunt, very smooth, rounded profile to it. More so even than the Leopard. Let's get these next to each other one more time. Yeah, super, super different. But for as vastly different as they are in terms of design, the flight and the flight numbers, as is a 7.6 -2.1, they're basically spot on to those flight numbers. The It is just a little bit less inherently flippy than the Vortex. And other than that, they end up flying very similarly and kind of cover you for very similar roles in terms of what you're using for it in your bag. All right, let's take a look at the rest of the flight footage on this disc. Don't have a ton of footage on it because I mostly tested it myself, but we did get the boys out to throw it a few times as well. But I only have one, so it's always tricky to get as much flight footage as I typically like to when I only have one disc. But you're going to get the idea. It's a hyzer flip machine. Flips up easy, rolls over extremely easy. If you want it to hold a turnover, it's not a difficult endeavor to get it to do that. If you want it to roll, that's also not difficult at all. What I like about this thing is I can throw it with almost no effort. on a hyzer flip, and it'll just stand up and work. So if you don't have to worry too much about where the disc goes, you can afford to let it bleed right a little bit, and you just want to float something down there with very little effort, this is a great disc for that. Really nice disc for lower arm speed players. Not necessarily your first disc ever, as I still always think that a putter or mid-range in the stable to slightly understable variety is better for brand new players first couple of rounds. But once you're ready to start throwing drivers, you've played a few times, 5, 6 times, whatever it is for your level and how you progress. Once you're ready for drivers, this would be a great one to check out. And for any player that just doesn't have a lot of arm speed and wants something that'll fly straight with no effort. You don't have to put any kind of real power on this thing to get a full flight out of it, which is great for all players. And yeah, if you're more of an advanced level player, it's going to be more of a flip to turn disc. Throw it down on a hyzer, hit it hard, it still will roll up and hold over to the right. You can flip it up laser straight with almost no effort, like I said, and easy out of the box roller disc as well for kind of more average arms. But I think this will probably be better suited for lower arm speed players, newer players, or more experienced players looking for kind of a utility flip disc. A lot of people know you need to have an overstable approach disc for utility, but not a lot of people recommend having a super flippy disc for that as well. But there are a lot of shots that you can execute with a really flippy understable 7-speed that you can't do with other discs. So it's a valid disc to have in your bag. Again, if you want to throw something that you can release on hyzer, it'll fly straight for a little bit and then roll over to the right later in the flight. This is definitely a good disc for you to test for that as well. Or really good disc if you want to learn a kind of an understable roller shot that you can put out of the hand flat and just get it to land and roll pretty easy. This would be an awesome disc for that as well. That is my review on the DGA Vortex, the Catrina Allen Prototype Edition, courtesy of our friend Disc Golf Nerd Patreon support team member Ed Radakovitz. So Ed, thank you very much again for your continued support and being a Patreon support team member, and for just being a solid dude, and also for hooking me up with some plastic as you are a member of Team DGA and helping to get some more of that plastic here on the channel. Thank you to everybody for your continued support. I appreciate you all. All the links to the Patreon and all the different ways you can help support me and help keep these videos rolling in the description below, as well as reviews for the IT and anything else I think you guys should check out. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you all very soon. Cheers.